Yeah. All right. Welcome to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone wherever you're watching from. As you can see in our virtual studio, we have the beautiful Ellie Yambem joining us from Manipur. Many of you might have been familiar with her and her teas, which of course I am having it right here in the
Oh,
morning.
great. Thank you.
Welcome, Ellie, to our show.
Thank you for having me, Che. Yeah, and thank you for this platform. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And a little bit about Ellie for those who don't know her. Um, Ellie Yambem is the founder of DwellerTeas from Manipur. Ellie is a former financial analyst, but she chose to return to Manipur to start DwellerTeas. And which with the support of hardworking ladies in Manipur makes a variety of tea with infusion, from traditional medicinal plants and locally sourced ingredients. And I'm really, really excited to have you. And before we start, I actually took it out from my cabinet. I just wanted to
Oh,
see this. I'm
wow.
so excited. Look at your product all the way in my kitchen. This is the flavor of Nongmangkha ginger green tea, which is what I'm having today. Generally, I have coffee in the morning, but today is a special day, so I said, okay, let me try
Really
this.
appreciate it.
And then another of my favorite is the fruity roselle tea.
Mhm.
Let me put it next to the camera for everybody to see. Look at that. So I still have my stock, and I'm very happy that even if it runs out, I can order it and I can get it. So with that, I want to welcome you to our show.
Thank you. It's a
So
pleasure to be here. Yeah.
we know a little bit about you, but we want to learn more about you. So if you can share about yourself, love to
Mhm.
know about your childhood background, on specifically highlighting why you chose the part of dwellers,
Mhm.
what has impacted you in your life that has made this choice.
Yes. So I grew up in Imphal. My lekai is Uripok Yambem lekai, and I mean my childhood memories. I would say that it's filled with a lot of playing in the sun with my cousins, neighbors, and enjoying fresh seasonal local fruits. And I mean, I also enjoyed making things. So I remember very clearly when I was around 12, I made this, balap, which is basically a frozen, a packaged frozen juice. And I made it and I sold it at a nearby shop. And I can never forget my first customer. It was I mean, my first customer was a rickshaw man. It was a very
Oh,
hot summer afternoon. Yeah. It was a very hot summer afternoon. So he just stopped by the shop and was looking for something to quench his thirst. And I saw him, having this balab that I had made for 1 rupee. And I just remember feeling very good about it because, firstly, he was the first ever person to ever pay for something that I had made. And second was, just the pure joy of seeing someone enjoy something that I had made. And I mean, that's when I felt that such childhood memories have definitely had an impact on me in terms of the little things, and always trying to do something that brings me joy and meaning. So soon after the balap making experience, I was sent to a boarding school in Assam. So I studied there from class 6 to class 12. And after my class 12, went to Delhi University and took up economics. But I mean, within the first few months itself, I
one
felt
second.
that.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just give me a moment. I'm so sorry.
Sure. No problem. I'm so sorry. I
Okay.
was also just getting a call,
All
and
right.
I'm sorry. All good?
All right. Now you have my full attention. I
Okay.
sometimes like I check if the connectivity is fine. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
my mind is a little diverted, but I see that it's all streaming and we have a lot
All
of
right.
people who are watching us. Thank you to all our listeners,
Thank
and
you.
keep commenting as we are talking. And yeah, so over to you. So before you continue, how
Mm-hmm.
old were you when you sold the first barab?
I was
I'll
around
say it
12.
in our
And
pronunciation, barab.
yeah, Balak, no, I was
Mhm.
around 12. And I mean, I just remember, like just locking myself in the kitchen and doing, making all that. And I mean, I had already seen, elders having this sachet. They use the,
Yeah.
the heat from the candle to heat seal the packet. So I was doing all that by myself and just, put in the fridge and freezer. And then and then I just borrowed that container that helps in keeping it frozen for long,
Yeah.
and just kept it at the nearby shop. And I just waited for the first customer, and there, the rickshaw man came and had something with so much joy. And I just can never forget that.
That's so awesome. Yeah. And I just wanted to highlight that because, like things which happen in our childhood really does remain, in our mind and how it impacts. What was the flavor? What flavor did you make?
So at that point, it was, I'm a bit embarrassed to say it, but I was trying to do cost cutting, I guess, because I didn't have much money. So I bought this Rasna packet from,
Uh,
yeah. And it was 4 rupees, I remember. Now it must be a lot. So it was 4 rupees. I want just one packet, and I had made about like 20 of the sachets. So it was 20 rupees I was getting in return.
wow. Wow.
But
Okay.
I think it was just a pure joy of, seeing someone enjoy something, that I have made, and even if it was for a short while. So I
Yeah.
think I think that's what my, simple joy has always been. I realized, just by going through these memories and just thinking about what is it that, brings me joy, or what do I want to do. So yeah, I guess it led me to Dweller. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I interrupted you about when you were
Sure.
talking about your schooling, and if you can
Right. Right.
talk about
Right.
that.
So I still, I mean, just after that, I went to Assam. I was in a boarding school, so I studied there from class 6 to class 12.
Hmm.
And after my 12, I went to Delhi University, took up economics. But within the first, 3 months, I realized that, oh no, I have made a mistake because I I just felt that the course and the place, they weren't the right fit for me. And I thought, if I wasn't enjoying it, or if I didn't see a future in it, then I should just drop out. So, so I dropped out. I decided to look for other alternatives, and I was very fortunate to go to the UK for my undergraduate study. I studied there, specialized in accounting and finance. And as soon as I reached there, I just tried to adapt to the new culture and applied for a lot of part-time jobs, internships. And it was in my second year, I got a good internship at an investment bank, and I worked there for 2 months during my summer break. And after the internship, I was offered a full-time job, so I just took up that job offer and started working in London, in London as finance analyst. And so overall, I worked in London for 2 years. And at that point, I was in need for a change. I thought I should relocate to Singapore. So I relocated. I moved to Singapore office within the same company. And I also, mainly because I just wanted to experience living and working in Singapore, and also get closer to home, because I knew that I wanted to be, back home someday, and also do, something based on the local strengths, because I genuinely felt that we tend to undervalue or underutilize the local resources that we already have. And I felt very passionate about, creating an opportunity based on that. And I could see myself doing that for a long time. So that's when I finally decided to also leave my job in Singapore. But when I had enough savings to start my first business, which is DwellerTeas. So as you mentioned, Ichi, like Dweller for Everyone makes herbal and fruit infusions from indigenous plants with traditional health benefits, and for me. Working at Dweller, brings me joy because I grew up eating a lot of these fruits and herbs, myself, and now we've made them into Dweller teas, and it also brings me meaning because I started with a group of women, actually, Inez and Kaka, from the neighborhood, and they're still with me on this journey to grow together. So so I'm still continuing, and.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm.
So, couple of things you mentioned, which let's talk about it, right? So, you left Manipur at a very young age, when you were in sixth grade. Um,
Yeah.
so, do you want to share a little bit of your experience of leaving, very young? Um,
Mhm.
was it a smooth experience, or did you, go through moments of homesickness, and
Right.
just kind of, wanted you to share that. Like, I left Manipur after my 10th grade, and I was,
Mhm.
of course, bigger than you in terms of age, but still I felt like very, I don't know, I felt very shy. um,
Mhm.
I I found that, wow, I went to Bombay, and
Right.
people were like so fast, and they wouldn't hesitate talking and
Mhm.
speaking up, and I was this very shy kid. um, and so it took me a lot of time, to get adapted, and I used to feel homesick. So I just wanted to, hear
Yeah.
your experience.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I can relate to it. So, um, when firstly, my elder sisters, they were already sent before me, so I thought that it was quite cool that that they were going out, but when I experienced it, I felt very homesick.
Mm.
That it was not cool at all, to be away. And so I remember initially, I would feel homesick, and I was always the more shy type, I guess, more on the introverted side. But I think. I tried to adapt, and what happened was, I think, me being engaged in a lot of activities, especially sports,
Mhm.
um, and music. They really helped me a lot, because, and I studied in a residential school where everyone was treated the same. Everyone wore the same clothes. Everyone had the same time to study. Everyone had the same facility. Provided, and I remember, that a lot of my time, my free time, was actually spent playing different kinds of sports, and also, playing the guitar, and being in the choir, singing. So I think that being engaged in those activities really helped me forget a lot of things, being
Yeah.
just being there in the moment, and also finding friends that I could be with. um, so I think being engaged in those activities have definitely helped, and reduce my homesickness. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And another thing, what you said, which I want to highlight, because I know a lot of our listeners are young high achievers also. So for them, like, when you went to Delhi, and when you initially enrolled for economics, right?
Mhm.
And then you
Yeah.
realize that, oh no, this is not what I want, and I want to
Yeah.
switch. You had that determination and courage, and of course support, I guess, from your family, for you to
Yes.
make the choice to switch. Because I have a lot of people coming to me and say that, hey, I don't want it, but my parents are like forcing me to be in this line. So I just wanted you to share a little bit about that switch, the support, how you were determined to make
Mhm.
that choice to switch, because you
Right.
knew in your mind that, no, this is not what I want.
Yeah, I think it started from a very early age. Um, for example, I don't remember a single time when my parents asked me to study. I
Mm.
think a lot of the time I was telling them, please, I want to study, or I want to. Uh, I mean, I just wanted to focus, or I
Mhm.
think they had given me a lot of independence from a very early age. And I also remember in class 10, after my class 10, we had to pick a stream, whether you would choose humanities, commerce, or science. And I was so sure about the course that I wanted to take up that I actually forgot to even like let my parents know that I had already signed up for commerce. So I just realized that when it came to very important decisions that was going to impact me full time, I just took those decisions myself. And I also would feel bad because I had certain friends where they were forced to take up science, but they were
Yeah,
not good at science. They wanted to do English. They were much better
yeah.
taking up literature. Or but I realized that it was not long lasting. Maybe it was long lasting
Mm.
for 2 years, but eventually in the long term it just doesn't work. uh, that's what I found. So when I had taken up economics, it was at St. Stephen's. And I don't know. I just started to question, and my friends asked me, "Why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? A good, college that you've just, got through." But I think we have to ask ourselves that what is it that we really want, and what is it? Where do we see ourselves? And so I was initially confused between taking a BCom and economics, because I was more into accounting and finance, which I ended up taking at when I went to UK. But when I took up economics, I don't know. I'm not. I'm not. I mean, I don't like to study a lot too. Like, I want something very practical, and I just felt that it was very similar to the education that I already had in class 11 and 12. It was just more, materials to study. So I just wanted to start working immediately after, finishing my 3 years at university. And I think going to study, I mean, making that move helped me to, help me to accomplish that. So, Ajay, am I fully answered your question in terms of trying to give some suggestion, or
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
people?
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. Because I really love, when you share your thoughts, because I think that's something which we don't talk much about. We see that, hey, you have created this beautiful space of dweller, and we see that, but I want to go deeper to understand
Mhm.
what are the things that made you choose, and also highlight, right, some of the things we see in our society, making decision. And I think for you, a big shout out to your parents for being so nurturing and giving you that space too, on top of you being very focused and being aware of what you want and having that ability to change it or decide, right, on your own. So not many people are fortunate. Like you said, um, some people may do it under the pressure of the parents, but it's not long lasting, because eventually when they are independent, then they want to pursue what they want. And then you kind of think that, okay, did I waste my 3 years,
Yeah.
or 2 years? So I know that many of our listeners are also parents, and want to see that, sometimes parents in their own mind, because they have not seen that this part also can lead to success, of what success
Mhm.
they define, um, with people like you, right, showing that, yeah, this is something people have not done, but it can be done, right, gives that um, insights that, yeah, even if my child wants to pursue something which I'm not aware of or I haven't
Mhm.
seen, having that faith, that, or support, to push the child. So that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah.
convey to our listeners.
And I think that, we also have to fight for it,
Yes,
that there will be pressure, and we have to also try to communicate, why do we want that, and how do we try to assure, our parents or anybody, if they were to be, heavily, affected by such, decision making.
yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, but I think right now I'm so positive to see many youth being empowered to follow their dreams, and we see, it opening up. But in my time, it was so narrow, and
Right.
we just had only some basic career line, and
Mhm.
to our parents' view, that is the only way they thought would lead stability and financial independence, right?
Right. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you
And
for sharing that.
right.
So again, let's talk a little bit about, too many people. You were in London, you were in
Mhm.
Singapore, but again, you chose to come back, right? And if you can share any resistance or your struggle in setting up dwellers.
Right. So in this particular case, I had to really go against my parents. They were not happy that I was quitting, the job that I had
Yeah,
to do something that has. I mean, nobody can predict
yeah,
how the business is going to be, and it's a very risky, adventure. So, I mean, the first they tried to stop me to not, leave my job to do this. But again, I felt that it was my calling. It was a natural progression for me to take this step. Uh, and There were challenges in terms of, I did not actually come back directly home after leaving my job. I I was in Guwahati first. So I stayed with a friend for 2 months. She was really, helpful to give me, a place to stay and for me to do some research. And then I shifted to a different place in Guwahati, and I lived there by myself while I was starting the business. So, firstly, I would say that I had never experienced working in India before.
mm,
Before coming before starting Dweller. So I mean, I had taken a lot of things for granted. I think, having, having lived and worked in London, Singapore, because a lot of systems were already in place.
right.
But I mean, initially, I mean, I was just running around, from one place to the other, uh, applying for licenses, applying for, I think the compliances took a longer time than I had thought to start the business. And then the real challenges came about in terms of, so I would say that it was in 2016 when I decided to return, but nothing happened in terms of what I had planned. So everything I felt was a failure. And I thought, oh my God, like I have given up and I'm doing this. And I mean, nothing is, happening, and I'm not able to come up with a product that I am satisfied with, that I can share with people. So 2016 was not a pleasant year at all, but at the same time, I learned a lot. And the thing is, because I was entering a field, an area where I didn't have any prior experience in. So first was I was entering into food processing, packaging, and tea industry, and I mean, I was just learning all of that. But yes, while I was working, yes, I was doing some, study and doing a lot of tastings, but it was for the first time that, it in the real world, I had to try to figure out my solutions. And so I mean, yeah, so 2016 was, I wouldn't say it was a wasted year, but I just learned a lot from it, but nothing really happened. And it was only in June of 2017 that I was able to get the products out in the market. So the main challenge, I mean, firstly was that previously I thought that since I don't have any experience, I just get few things outsourced,
Mm,
to people that were already in this field, who are already doing a great job. So, for example, I thought, I'd get the ingredients from already existing suppliers. Then I thought I'd outsource the packaging to a company that's already doing that already has all the infrastructure in place. But what happened was that the sample and the actual quality that you get at the end, I
yeah.
mean, there was a mismatch, and there were a lot of quality issues. There were a lot of timeline issues, and especially when you're starting, nobody cares, because you're too small, and nobody sees that, that you are, that it's going to help them as well. So,
Mhm.
um, so then I decided that, do I go back? Because it was still within a year, that it was not too long
Mhm.
time away from the corporate world. So I actually did think about it one time, whether I should go back, because I was really, I mean, kind of lost.
Yeah.
And or do I, try to still carry on this journey? And after just spending, more time with myself, just thinking about it, I thought, okay, if this is something that I'm passionate about, if this is something that I see myself doing, then what's the point? Because again, I'll quit my job and try to do it again, and it'll just become a circle.
Right.
You there? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right. Sorry, I frozen for some time. Yeah. Then then I decided to carry on, and I started investing in all the machineries. Visited a lot of places, did my research, and I just started from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that, right? So you almost gave up, and I always believe in our inner superpower, which I
Mm-hmm.
call um, to remain, to be persistent, to be focused in our goal and our vision. And for you, it was a trying time because, obviously we are learning every day, right? So when you initially started, it was not, some of the things were not as expected because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what we read may not be what really happens in the field. And you
Right.
almost wanted to give up, but you stayed. So what was that inner power, inner I guess, inner
Yeah.
thing which kept you on?
I think it was about, like, why did I leave
Yeah,
my job? Why did I
yeah,
start Dweller in the first
yeah,
place? What does Dweller mean to me?
yeah,
And when I named Dweller, Dweller is someone who dwells or lives in a particular place, and it's all about promoting the local strengths of the place that that we dwell in.
yeah,
And if I really believed in that, then, I mean, how do I say? Sh- shouldn't I try further? Like,
yeah,
and also it was about, I mean, I did see myself doing this for a long, long time. I mean, I didn't see myself getting bored. I just saw myself
yeah,
happy, and it may be very, I mean, it's very small, initiative, but I just thought that if I could just start and experience and just keep on going, then it can be where I want it to be someday. So I think it was that, that hope that just kept me going, and
yeah,
also the people that I was working with, that they were believing in this, and they, I mean, the team, they were, together with me, and we were always trying to find solutions despite the challenges. And I think challenges just became like an everyday part of a game, like that
yeah,
we just had to play the game, try to find, solutions accordingly.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, and I wanted to emphasize that, our when we do something because of the initial vision and goal,
Mhm.
that's what drives us to try different things, even if
Yeah.
it fails, right? Even if it fails, we stop taking it as failure. We are like, okay, now that didn't work, what will work? Let's try this, right?
Right.
So lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about after Assam, then, your journey in setting it up in Manipur.
Right. So initially, I set up in Guwahati. So and so so the products were out in the market in June of 2017, but I shifted to Manipur in February of 2018. And again, I feel that I have to also acknowledge that, I've had support. I mean, I can say that initially, yes, my parents were, they were scared for me, because it
Yeah,
was a very uncertain path. But I also had their support in terms of, having, a location, that, so in Guwahati I was paying rent, and suddenly my
mhm,
costs became lower, by coming to Manipur. And it was a garage kind of a setting, and I just redid all that, and that became like my packaging setup. And that's how I started. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm trying, I mean, I feel like it seems like such a long time ago, but yeah, I think that's about it. I'm just trying to see if I can add more to that.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no worries. Okay, so tell us a little bit about like the different flavors you have chosen.
Mhm.
Right? How did
Right.
you? because I see that, like, for example, I knew that I got 3 pack, and I was trying to remember what else did I get. And
Mm-hmm.
I see in my comment, thank you for reminding, Haimang. That was another
Mm-hmm.
flavor I got. And
Right.
I love all the flavor what I have tried, and I know I still have to try more. So can you speak a little bit about the flavors,
Mm-hmm.
choice, and availability? Since you are all, you have done a lot of research in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the market in Manipur.
Thank you. So, I mean, I'll start with the bestsellers. So the first is Haimang. Haimang is a childhood favorite. I think a lot of people can relate to it, and the good thing was that having the base in Manipur was that there was. In terms of explanation, we had very little explanation to do initially. Like we didn't have to explain so much about the benefits of Nongmangka,
Hmm.
Haimang, fruity roselle, that's Silot Saugri, that's blended with Chorpon, which is Indian olives, and we have peruk as well. So overall, we have about 8 indigenous flavors, and we have the usual green tea, the black tea as well, and that comes in flavor too. So the blends. Again, I had to go back to my childhood memories and try to recreate that, and it was something that just came from within. I didn't have to, I didn't
Yeah.
force too hard, but yes, I had to do a lot of testing, trial and testing, in terms of the shelf life, and what's the best way of processing it, because I was I was also in touch with the food processing experts, but I also had to do my own study and do my own homework, do my own tests to see what would work best for me. So the flavors, Haimang, then we have Silot Saugri, that's roselle with Chorpon, that's Indian olives. So again, previously I only had the roselle, but one day I went to the Imam market and I saw this lady. Her name was Ine Bina, and we're still in touch with her. She's still supplying for us. So she was carrying, on her back like about 25 kg of Indian olives and trying to find a buyer in the
Hmm.
market. And I love going to Imam Market. It's only 1 kilometer away from where I live, and I just stopped her and just tried to inquire a little bit about about her. I mean the olives that she was selling, and I thought, wow, we could actually try to utilize what she has, and maybe we can also connect with more women, more Ines like Ine Bina, and try to find a way to grow together, because a lot of the produces that they're selling are perishable, they're seasonal, and if they do not sell at the right time, then it's just going to go to waste. And so we found a way to, then I bought like a few kgs from her and did my testing, and I found that it blended so well with roselle. And I think this year she supplied like 1000 kg this
Wow.
year she
Yeah.
supplied to us. So I mean, things like that. And then I ended up adding a little bit of haribop. Again,
Hmm.
haribop is, I think, a citrus peel that's usually added to fish curry, to help with the aroma. And going back to traditional knowledge and the dwellers practice, the existing practices, I just try to adapt accordingly and utilize these local plants that and just try to increase the value of that as well, and make more people taste that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us about your team. How big is your team? Where all are your outlet? How are you?
Mhm.
How is it being, I guess, taken by the public both locally, and also I want to understand, within India and internationally.
Mhm. Right. So we are still a very small team at the factory, which is where we have the food processing and the packaging, and we have the central office operations. So we are 8 people right now, and and then we have the outlets. We have 3 outlets, but unfortunately, because of COVID, they are closed. But we have again about 8 to 10 people there working, and yeah. Oh, right. And so I opened my first outlet in November of 2018. That was in Lamphale. And I decided to open that mainly to help with market linkage,
Mm.
because I was trying. Firstly, I realized that I was not very good at marketing, and I mean, I realized so many things about myself that I just kept on criticizing myself, I guess. But it was just purely based on experience that, for example, when I was going to the shop, there was very little brand visibility, and when we were giving it to cafes as well. So I don't know, I just had this way of serving in a way that I would want for Dweller. And that led me to open the first store in Lamphale in Imphal. And we're also serving local snacks there, along with all the indigenous flavored teas. So I think after opening that, it really helped a lot in terms of multiplying the impact, or and even with the stores. And there were also people, visitors coming from outside, and I'm so blessed, I mean, that we have, we have a strong support, a strong local support here,
Yes.
that they are actually bringing people to come to Dweller, and also to promote a lot of local products. And that's how I think the word of mouth started happening. And people from outside, they would come here, they would have the tea, and then what they'll do is they'll order, once they're back in their location, they'd order online from us directly on our website, or through Amazon.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, if this is helping, then we should open another store. Then we opened at Manipur University campus. So that's the second. We opened also one, but that failed, so I had to close it down in Morangkom. I should mention that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the third that we opened was in Shillong. And the timing was not good, because we opened, and then about 4 days later we had to close it because of COVID.
Okay. Yeah. So the COVID has deterred, I think, many business, but I'm sure when all this is gone, things will pick up. But thank you for sharing not only your success, but your I won't call it failure, but the points where you had to pull back, because those are important in the journey, for an entrepreneur like yourself. So to all our listeners, I think what I want to request and remind is, for me, I came to know about your tea from my show, right?
I think I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So which is why,
Which is Sonia. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so that means that we are not aware of many, many good initiatives
Right.
which is happening. So I just want to remind everybody that, when we share in social media or when we talk about it, it's spreading the wealth. And now I'm so happy, to know about your tea, not only like to get the taste for myself, but also I think many of us who are out, or who are even in Manipur, have that spirit, right? Very supporting spirit of something new coming up. And your product are great, right? I love everything. I love the taste. I love the packaging. I love the value system you and your team carries. Like, when I looked up your website or Facebook, I'm not sure which one, but I remember seeing a picture where I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something to the effect of people being served first come, first served, not
Right.
like VIP culture, right? So these are things, which is a change. And I see the change maker in you, your team, because many of us, like, we are like, oh, we don't like that, but what are we doing about it, right? But in every work of yours, when you imply that value system, it makes an impact. So I love that. And
Thank you so
when
much.
we, for all of us, when we buy things, to gift it to somebody, right? And when we know that, oh, we have our product, it makes it even more, I guess, unique and special for me to gift to somebody. And now with all technology, right, you can order it online, it can be delivered to whichever address. So I just wanted to share that thought, that yes, we give gift to people. So think about like products, made by awesome initiative like Li. When we want to gift it, think about those products, and that's one of my goal in learning. What are we doing? What are our products? How do we
Mhm.
share it? Across. So
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Is there anything else? I know, obviously we'll have a lot of things to talk, but in the interest of time, and I do want to
Mhm.
spend some time on my favorite project, but is there anything else you want to share in your journey of making Dweller before we move on to the next segment?
Mm, I think I mean, you mentioned about the culture, and
Yes.
what I like a lot about starting, um, starting like Dweller, or I think other people can also relate to it, is that we have a lot of independence in terms of how we want it to be done, and we can try to create our own system, create our own culture, and also
Yes.
try to attract the right kind of people, and it makes
Yes.
our everyday working together so pleasant and so smooth. And I mean, pleasant in terms of it's not always pleasant. We also have to disagree and challenge, you know but that can coexist together, and that becomes quite productive too, and it helps a lot in the long run. So I would say that I initially, when I started Dweller, I focused a lot on the culture, and I actually like noted down like what are the three points that I want each person joining Dweller to have, or to to embrace.
Yes.
And one was to actually treat everyone the same, with equal
Yes.
respect. And others was like one another one was to be open to feedback,
Yes.
both positive and negative, and try to always work on it, improve. So yeah, I think culture is it's quite it's very intangible. It takes, I mean, we have to make conscious efforts every day in order to reap the benefits in the long run. And I think yeah, I think I just wanted to add to what you had mentioned on
Yeah, yeah,
culture.
no, definitely. And I love that initiative. I love it because when you spell it out, um, when you share it, right, and it becomes a process, it makes people think, right? Because sometimes unknowingly, as we have seen within our community, um, unknowingly or self-righteously, um, some people feel that, you know, um, I guess they have more right. And, we all grew up in that. So I really love that. When I saw that, I was like, wow, I'm loving this initiative. So did you have any, I guess, experience in your store on such um, conflict on those values that
Right.
made you, spell it out and write it?
Hmm. I mean, Manipur is a very small place, so everyone knows each other, and
Yeah,
we always try to make an exception. But when we make an exception, we are also, I mean, I'm very conscious about what what the staff, what the team, what they think, because I don't want to be, I mean, I don't want to set the wrong example
yeah,
myself. So and it really puts me in a very uncomfortable position, because I have to um, I mean, I have to try to display the right. I mean, I have to. I mean, lead by example firstly. So there are. I mean, especially in the store, there are times when people, come and they want to just do a shortcut and for
mm,
ordering, but there are other people who are
yeah,
waiting for their orders. So, and what happens that it becomes my responsibility to also empower the team, to make them feel that they are also equal to everyone,
yes,
and we are all doing different jobs. And I think I had to just remind that, and so that and when any incident like this happens, we just get together, and we sit down and then we think about, okay, if it happens next time, then this is how we're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think that has helped in bringing clarity, and so that we just don't do based on, oh, who's who, and oh, this person's come, so please, do this, differently. And for us, every customer is the same, and we are very grateful actually to every customer who buys our product, who comes to our cafe to enjoy a cup of tea. It really makes a difference to us, and I think it comes from that as well.
Yeah. No, definitely. I love that. Like, it's not only your product, but I love the value system you're creating, right? In having that equality in the dignity of work. Everybody does, whatever your work is, it is your role. And, we should be proud and happy of the contribution we are making. And I think that's something which I know that in our place could be a little different in earlier times. So I am so proud of that. So thank you to you and your team for ensuring that we are, as part of your product, it's your brand, right? That when you enter that space, you have that ambience. And I'm sure that from your space, the people who has been in your space is going to carry out that value system. So thank you.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, so let's go to our next segment of Thagachari. This is a project which I have been very passionate about. And like I said, many of us, we don't know who is who. And when I meet very young people and I ask, like, who is your role model, or who do you know about Manipur? Not many people know about who is who in Manipur. But I know that there is a lot of people whom we don't know about, but who are doing a lot of good initiative. And that's when we started this. My goal and vision is to have a book at some point for all our young readers, because it's awesome, right? Like, to read about you, about your story, about the product, about your belief. So I have been doing this for quite some time, and I'm trying to pull up a video to share with you. So give me a moment.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so this is Sonia Yambem, who had shared about your product, and let me play a bit.
Also sent this to Japan to one of my friends, whose name is also Monica. So she also said that this reminded her of her childhood time. She's not from Imphal, but
So you see that, like, so this is the first time I came to know about your product as part of Thagachari project. Right. So you have been nominated by Sonia for your initiative. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share one more quick video. Okay. So this is an interview I had done with Dr. Palin. And again, as part of the Thagachari project, appreciate somebody. So let's hear that.
Koina Manipur level sida koina goal sida koina tawjarisi mayamna mengoina pallagadi Manipur sida koina yamba matam who is who se khangna da bayam yawe kanana kari tawri noga koina role model gi oina book ama compile tawrakanda sina si thagalakpani mana si tawri haibagi haitare adugi focus da tawjaba
hoi chime thagat base
ama thagalaga atai de thagat haibadi natte sir aduna
hoi adusu aina su thoning graba aina thaganing yam leiri ba aidi entrepreneurship youngsters thoning graba moi tawri yam encourage tawningi adagi
kasu kaide sir
politics da so
bada panindraga su
ꯍꯣꯏ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯌꯪꯒꯔ ꯖꯦꯅꯦꯔꯦꯁꯟꯗ ꯅꯨꯄꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯥꯝꯕꯦꯝ ꯏꯂꯤꯖꯥꯕꯦꯠꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯁꯨꯝ ꯎꯏ ꯑꯁꯥꯝ ꯚꯦꯂꯤꯗ ꯇꯝꯃꯛꯑꯦ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯁꯤ ꯗꯦꯜꯂꯤꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯇꯝꯃꯒ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯣꯝꯗ ꯑꯦꯕ꯭ꯔꯣꯗꯇꯁꯨ ꯃꯇꯝ ꯈꯔ ꯂꯩꯔꯨꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯏꯚꯟ ꯁꯤꯡꯒꯥꯄꯨꯔꯗꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯔꯨꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯊꯥꯗꯣꯛꯑꯒ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯒ꯭ꯔꯨꯝ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯃꯊꯟꯇ ꯒ꯭ꯔꯨꯝ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯒ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤꯁꯤ ꯁꯤꯡꯒꯜ ꯍꯦꯟꯗꯦꯗꯂꯤ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯩ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯥꯝꯗ ꯃꯇꯝ ꯈꯔ ꯂꯩꯔꯝꯃꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯇꯤ ꯏꯟꯗꯁꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯁꯤꯗ ꯔꯤꯄꯦꯀꯦꯖꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯂꯥꯛꯄ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯗ ꯁꯤꯞ ꯇꯧꯔꯛꯄ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯖꯔꯝꯕ ꯑꯦꯁꯦꯠ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯚꯦꯔꯥꯏꯇꯤꯁꯤ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯏꯅꯣꯚꯦꯠ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯔꯤꯄꯦꯀꯦꯖꯤꯡ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯨ ꯍꯩꯃꯥꯡꯒꯤ ꯐꯪꯉꯦ ꯁꯧꯒ꯭ꯔꯤꯒꯤ ꯐꯪꯉꯦ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯎꯏ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯅꯥ ꯀꯩꯊꯦꯜ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯗ ꯍꯥꯡꯉꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯤꯗꯩꯁꯤꯗ ꯁꯨꯄꯔ ꯃꯥꯔꯀꯦꯠꯀꯤ ꯑꯗꯩꯗ ꯍꯥꯡꯉꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯆꯪꯉꯨꯔꯦ ꯑꯗ ꯑꯦꯝꯕꯤꯌꯟꯁ ꯑꯃꯁꯨ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯅ ꯀ꯭ರಿꯌꯦꯠ ꯇꯧꯋꯤ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯅꯛꯅꯅ ꯎꯕꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯅꯧꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯀꯦꯔꯤꯌꯔ ꯒ꯭ꯔꯣꯠꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯁꯨꯝ ꯎꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯁꯤ
So I did put Dr. Palin a little bit on a spot.
Thank you so much.
So my idea is, I think it's important to mention names to identify people because that's where, we are going to learn. So, I'm thankful to Dr. Palin for playing with me, in identifying and so happy to hear your name in his nomination. So that is the project which I have been, leading. Because I want to share the practice of gratitude, not only at the level of Manipur, but at the personal level, right? And I truly believe that that's going to enhance our connectivity. That's going to uplift us as a person, when we are grateful about the things around us. So what do you feel like? I am sure there are a lot of people who appreciate you for your work. I have been seeing comments. But before we go into your nomination, what did you feel, when you heard gratitude nomination from Sonia and Dr. Palin?
The thing is, I felt very grateful again, and I felt very blessed because we have people from Manipur who are showing such strong support and love, and I would say that this was the main reason why we've been able to sustain and find a way to grow. And it's not just me; it's it's the people who are also working together. So I felt very grateful, and I actually reached out to them to say thank you, for all they've said and the appreciation.
Yeah, awesome. So I would definitely invite you today. I would love to hear your nomination and, at your personal level, at the level of Manipur and global.
All right. At the personal level, I think I'll start with personal then state, right? Yeah. Okay, so at the personal level, I would like to thank my grandmother. I never got to meet her, but I know that she was a very strong person. She was a single mother, and she worked odd jobs. She worked really hard to support her children, including my father. And she worked at the Ima market, so she used to sell tea there. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I feel very drawn or very close to Ima market, because when I go there, I see a lot of Imas there, and I somehow can see my grandmother also there. And I think it's because of her strength and sacrifice that I feel that it has influenced me to be who I am as a person, my values, and how I want to live my life. So I wanted to mention that because that's something that I think a lot about. And at the state level, the thing is, as you know, Dr. Palin also said that there are so many people that you want to mention, and I just feel that there are so many people that I would really like to thank, and I would also want to reach out to them personally too. And first, I would like to mention, I would like to thank Iche Shubra from Mera Foods. I feel that she is. I don't know. She has something about her, and what she's been doing, since how she started Myra from her kitchen to where she is now, and not just that, her energy, the positivity you get, and how inclusive she is. When she is, promoting the local, products, and also helping so many other people, with, better job opportunities. So I really want to appreciate her, and want to mention Iche Shubra from Myra Foods.
Cool. How about your global nomination?
Global nomination, again, so tricky. There's so many people, but I'll just go with the first person that came to my mind. His name, I'm not sure if but his name is Clayton Christensen. He passed away in January of this year. But I used to really follow his work. He was a professor at Harvard Business School, and he was a business consultant. And he's best known for his work on theory of disruptive innovation. But I came across this TEDx talk, which was on how do you measure your life, and he had a book also after that. And that's the thing is, I never thought that business theories or concepts could also be applied to our own personal lives in terms of our resource allocation, how we utilize, how we spend our time, our energy, our money, and how that is in line with our priorities. For example, relationships as well. So what is success? How do you measure your life, basically? So that really made me think in terms of for him, it was about, at the end, it was not the numbers, it was the impact, the lives that you have touched, and the people that you have helped along the way. And even though he is, he's done a lot of interesting work on innovator's dilemma and very business theory related, but he also touched a lot on the personal aspect of life in terms of living a more fulfilling life, and that's where I think it really got me, and I keep going back to his book often, and yeah.
Cool. Thank you for your.
I will share with you the TED Talk. I think it might be interesting.
Yes, do that. Yeah, and I love it when we are mentioning names, and again, like I had repeated to other time also, it doesn't mean that we are not grateful for the other names, but it just means that for this purpose, because we don't have all the time, it's just like we are acknowledging that yes, gratitude, value, and mentioning somebody. And what I truly would want is for people to continue that, right? Just because we have said one name in the show doesn't mean that that's the end. But I love the idea of having the names being called out, because that's when you say that, people are going to look it up, and that's how we spread our inspiration from where our inner strength comes. And I really love that. Okay. So we are almost at time. I'm going to pull up the album, and if you can share words on, let me make that full screen. Oops. Okay.
This brings back some memories.
All right. So if you can share your thoughts or your commentary on the pictures.
Yeah. So, this was the first day we opened our first store at Lumfield called DwellerTeas and Snacks. And I'm just trying to force myself to smile there, just to just to remember that this has happened. But it was a very like this very shaky opening. The two people that that we had hired, they did not come on time, so I was very worried that how is the opening going to happen. And it was a Sunday, and the team from the factory, from my workshop, they said, Chauba, don't worry, we'll come and we'll just make it happen. Let's make it happen. And that's how we just opened it. It was not a perfect, but just glad to have started.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Right. So this is an illustration by David. His name is David Yambem. And I saw his work. I came across his work from Instagram and just connected with him. And we just thought a lot about how we can try to, convey the message of what Dweller is. And this is just a group of, people, working together, being delighted by our local, producers, and trying to, offer you the best of nature. And that in turn helps in supporting, our livelihoods.
Yeah, I love it. I love the art. David has done a great job, and it's reflecting, your brand. I see even the vibe I'm getting from the smiles.
Right.
Yeah, like you can see the Haimang, Nomang Kamapan, everything, every little details. I was admiring it. It's lovely.
All right. So this is, I think it was a usual, evening after work. We just got together and we were enjoying a cup of tea. And I thought that moment was so beautiful that my hand is there with my cup. And I just thought I would pick that picture to just, preserve this memory.
Yeah, and I love your choice of the cup. Like, when I think of tea in my childhood days, that is the cup.
Right. So this is in Shillong when we opened the cafe there. And those pictures that I'm holding are my niece and nephews. I took them along with me. And again, these were, these were very random pictures. They had just come, one evening to have tea, and they were playing around, and I just thought I'll just capture that. And just behind me, there's an artwork, and that's by Meena Laishram.
Yeah.
Right, and we have, all her artwork, not all, we've selected some and we've displayed at our Dweller Lumpvale. Actually, her artwork is in all our 3 stores.
That's awesome.
And she's really amazing. Yeah, she really brings out the innocence and reminds us of the simple joy.
Yeah.
So this, I went to the grower for harvesting roselle. And I also I also go there and just try to capture some memories. And this one I had taken from my phone and to try to put it on social media, basically.
Yeah, so this is the actual farm, like where you source the ingredients. And I
right.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Right. So we don't have any land. We don't own any land. We're working with growers and gatherers to supply us the raw materials.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this is Nongmangka. That's Ine Hema. And again, I sometimes when they're working, I just force them, Ine, please, just hold this packet. I want to take a picture. So that's there.
Yeah, I love it.
That's me. It was a video project that I did, but this was in the initial stage when I had just moved to Manipur, and just took a picture there.
I saw that when I first explored your website.
Okay. And again, this is just the picture with the color of the teas, Haimang and Roselle.
Yeah, I love taking the Roselle after my lunch.
Meal?
Generally,
Okay.
that's what I would take. Haimang got over, so I have to fill that. And as you said, you know,
Good to know it's over though.
Yeah.
That means
Yeah, it is one of the popular one. But I am, now that I've started drinking the Nomanka, I really love it.
Right. Thank you, Jay. Yeah. This, I think this might be the last photo, right? And I mean, the thing is with the packaging, it's so tricky, you know, how do you want it to be? So I just try to express what's, you know, what's in our heart and what we want Dweller to be. So there we had like a write-up, you know, by one of our Ines. Her name is Nepratima. So she had written that, you know, she's a DwellerTeas maker, and she is originally from Moirang, but now she's working at Dweller. She has 2 kids, and she makes the teas just like she would make for her own children, and that she sees, you know, all of us growing together.
Yeah, cool. All right. So let me take the time to quickly share your website. Okay, so this is the Instagram page, you know, for all our listeners. If you haven't checked it out, do check it out. And this is the website, and we can order in your website directly.
Yes.
And as you can see, you know, all the different flavors. So I do see that there are other flavors I don't have. So how is your delivery internationally?
So we are not, we are in the process right now. It has taken much longer, but we are in the process of listing on Amazon for international.
Yeah, that would make it really cool for people who are out. And I just wanted to zoom this on for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so black rice cake mix. Okay,
Right.
so that's a new product. I have not seen it before.
Yes. So when we opened a cafe, we were first serving the black rice cake and cookies.
Okay.
And now that the cafe isn't functioning, and also the reason why we started the black rice was that we were trying to find growers, you know, for our roselle, but they had black rice, and we weren't buying the black rice that, you know, that they already had. And it just made me think about what we could do to utilize black rice, and that's how the cake and cookie products came about. And we're not actually selling the ready-made form, but people can just buy the mix and they can easily make it at their home.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love it. I love that you're expanding, and, you know, I see as you work through the availability, it's going to go far and beyond, you know, locally as well as internationally.
Thank you.
That was so cool. All right, so let's take a couple of minutes to go through the comments we have received. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. You know, to be a part of our talk. So John Chingakam says, "I am so proud of you, Ellie. Haimang and Roselle are my favorite." Surkuman says, "Nice Dweller tea, high value taste, never compromise." And Shelley Plum says, "Love your story." Racy Sinna says, "Nice to watch the sharing of sweet real life experience." With a follow-up comment, "Monica, ma'am, your smile is just..."
That's very sweet.
Beautiful and heartily smile. Yam Pakchaba type. Thank you, Racy. Laba Yambem says, way to go, Ellie Yambem, dearest. Thank you, Tamo, for watching our show.
Thank you.
Oh, I was looking at how our app does it. I have not been sharing it this way, but this is cool.
Yeah, it's going in continuation, I think.
Yeah, it was coming up.
Yeah.
Nomi Huidrom says, keep growing, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Santala Ronglo says, go girl. So proud of you, Ellie. Ratan KH says, DwellerTeas are one of its kind, a different flavor indeed. One of my friends introduced me to Dweller tea. Since then, I have become a fan of Roselle olive tea. Right? I mean, look at
Thank you.
how much of tea we consume, right? And I didn't know, really, about your tea. And we consume tea so much. So if we spread the word, it would be so cool, for everybody to be having our own product. Victoria Chabung Bum says, when I'm home after the pandemic is to buy and taste the different flavor of Dweller tea. Great going, Elizabeth. So now, your delivery is still okay for within India, right?
It is.
Okay.
So we're shipping every day except Sundays. Yeah.
Okay. So for the ones in India, you still have the option to get it. For the international, we are still working on it. So right now, what we do is when we go home, we we get a stock, and then when we come back again, then we get more stock. Idemu Thangjam says, great job, Ellie. Honor you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ima Yamingsi. Usam Nirjit Kumar says, Yai fare, yai fare. Ramesh Chan Laishram says, inspiring, love your teas. Keep on innovating. Thank you. Yes, I love the innovation in your team, in your strategy, like adding, jakhao, like the cookie mix. I think those are really great, right? Because for people like me or people who are out who wants to bake it, now we have an option. That's awesome. Okay, so there is one question from Arnold Lorembam. Why are the products?
Yeah, I mean, I understand this completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to address that?
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, this, I mean, pricing was the first step. I mean, after after making the products. So the thing is, initially we thought that the raw materials are not that expensive, but then when it comes to making tea, for example, I'll just give you the perspective. So if it's Roselle, for example, the fresh Roselle, just 20 kg of fresh would just make 1 kg of dried. So when you try to convert it, then it becomes very, how do I say, it becomes quite costly in terms of the, the finished good cost.
Yeah.
And secondly, we are also considering a lot of the packaging materials that are there, and also, for example, this season, ginger price have really gone up, and I think the pricing has to be done in a way that we are able to withstand the fluctuations in the cost, because we cannot immediately increase and then decrease the price of the actual product, and we wanted to focus more on quality. So that we're able to, so that it gives us that cushion to maintain that quality on a consistent basis. But we are trying to come up with, a more, less costly options with the loose tea. So that would make it better, at least for everyday, household. But I do agree that, the tea bags. It's not easily affordable by all. It's just that we had to make a decision, based on the cost and the efforts that were, put in order to make the product. And also, I wanted to increase the value in a way that really helps all of us help all of us in the long run. So if you're selling to outside of Manipur, we want to we want to sell quality products, and we also want to enhance the value of what we're selling to the other markets, and I think that's where we're trying to head. That's the direction that we're trying to head towards as well. So
thank you for thank you, Arnold, for bringing up the question also, because it gives an opportunity for everyone to know what goes behind the price, right? Also, I think the operations cost, particularly if you start selling in Amazon and you start seeing how much of costs Amazon cuts when you actually deliver that product. And also, I think the quality, right? So for me, when I see this and I want to gift it to people, I am 100% confident, and I have got this last year when I came, and I still have it, and it's fresh, and I have no problem, with the quality. So that gives me the confidence. Also, I love that you changed the packaging. I know that you have the box. This packaging
that is for the bigger packet
for me.
No, that is the bigger packet. So that is for that has 50 infusion bags, and the box has just 18. So the box one is the medium pack.
No, also the feedback I was gonna say is when I carry it in my suitcase, it doesn't get crumple, and if I have to gift it, I was like, wow, I love this kind of packaging. So I can see that a lot of thought has gone by. Okay,
so I really appreciate that. I think it was Arnold, right? I really appreciate that, he took the time to, give this, feedback.
Yes. And the second comment, I didn't read it out while you were answering, but he also said the raw product are not that much costly and the selling price is not suitable. So, thank you for your input, but I think we also learned about, why the cost is at that price. And I love that you are thinking of alternative, right? For the local people, specifically if I want loose tea, and if that is going to cut the cost in terms of packaging and, the tea bags, then that is another good option.
That was going to be right, because initially, the thing is, we have to, there's a lot of education involved in terms of how much tea to put when you're making the loose tea and all of that. We just wanted to, stop the guesswork initially to first get the people, familiar with the taste.
And then, but Pauthai Kamai says, wanna taste it. Vedanti Laima Popam says, lovely. And I wanted to end the show with special comment from Saroj Nalini Khamdram, who is my mother, and I'm so proud that she's using Facebook, able to comment. So she says, Ibema Elizabeth, your job is very, very excellent. Maitay nupigi thauna lingjel utlamu malemda. So with that, thank you to all our listeners and your comment and having an engaging conversation today. Thank you, Ellie. My best wishes to you. And I know that you'll come back to our show again and share more stories as you're expanding with your team.
Thank you so much, Iche. And it was a pleasure spending my Sunday evening with you.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you, everyone. Keep tuning in. And, for yet another episode every Sunday. For me, it's morning. For India time, it's evening. Let's learn about who is doing what, right? And support each other. So thank you. Thank you so much.